What's up, Facebook? It is Wednesday, July 24th at 2 p.m. And today I have Bill Have with me on this live video, and we're going to talk a little bit about the car business. I'm excited to have him on. He's definitely making an impact on Facebook and building his brand. And I've kind of followed him for the past year or two, from a few dealerships he's gone to, and his customer base and what he's doing to engage with them on social media. He definitely uses social media on a regular basis. He sells cars, but he's also just started his own business and is a new entrepreneur where him and his wife are doing credit repair. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. Bill, how long have you been in the car business?
I got in the car business in November of 2014. And then actually 6 months later, I got fired. One of the reasons, honest to God, no lie, one of the reasons I got fired was because I was on Facebook too much. I admit that I definitely did not have the work ethic I do now. I didn't have any kids. I didn't meet Claire when I first started in the car business. So I was definitely a young punk kid that got in the car business, would come in hungover. And there was definitely reasons that justified me being fired. But being on Facebook too much was not one of them, in my opinion. So it's cool that I'm here now selling all my cars from Facebook.
Right. Yeah, it's definitely something I've tried to balance myself, because I'm a little bit older than you. So social media is kind of, I'm on the cusp of the older generation that doesn't use it and the younger generation that does. When I first started building my business using social media, it did almost feel like a waste of time. It did. When you don't get immediate results, you kind of feel like you're wasting a little bit of time on social media. And then eventually I started getting results, and, I was like, wow, this is actually starting to work. So 2014, so we're 5 years now?
Yeah, this November will be 5 years. I was out of the business for like 6 months because I was fired from them. I was fired from the dealership in April of 2015. And then my son was born in May. So it was a real punch to the gut, because I don't know about you, man, but for me, it wasn't real life that I was having a kid until I held him. I still thought, I'll figure it out. I'll make it work. I'll cross that bridge when I get there. And, holding my son and being on unemployment, I felt like the biggest schmuck, man. So he was born May 27th of 15. So I begged and pleaded for my job back to sell cars and promised to not be late, promised to not come in hungover. And I was a new man, and now I had to be a great dad. And they didn't let me back until August. So it was a long 3 months, man. But finally they let me back. I was getting like $400 a week on unemployment, and I knew that would get me by. But man, looking back now, I was tripping, bro. But now, so since August of 2015 is really when I consider myself selling cars, because I knew going back, man, I could not fail. If I failed, that means I was going to be a deadbeat dad. When I actually had to put myself on child support when my son was born, because I was never with my son's mother. So it was a one-night stand, and she ended up calling me a month later, told me she was pregnant. So we were really good friends, and, I knew that, there were some other guys that she was talking to and all that stuff. So that was cool with me, but I wanted to know if I was the dad or not. So long story short, I had to put myself on child support because she wouldn't get the paternity test. So the way to force her hand and to make her get her paternity test was to put myself on child support. If paternity is an issue, then they court order the paternity test. So when I didn't find out he was my son until he was a month and a half old, but I still would see him. I would still visit him and all that stuff, but just not knowing if he was my kid or not was crazy. So when I finally manned up and found out that he was mine and knew I had to do good is when I just went ham and using Facebook. And the store that I worked at, man, it was the name of it was Phillipsburg East and Hyundai. They're no longer in business now. And their slogan was, when you're lost, you're here. So I knew if I was going to sell a lot of cars, it would have to be self-generated. I mean, we would get literally 5 fresh ups a day. And there was this Indian guy who I worked with. His name was Arvid. This dude had the best work ethic that I've ever seen in my life. He didn't take a day off. He made calls all day long. He just constantly was working. So the 5 fresh ups that we would get a day, they weren't fresh ups. They were appointments for him, but we thought they were fresh ups. And we'd go out and grade them, and they say, I'm here for Arvin. So I always said, man, I want to be like Arvin, and I want people to come into the door and ask for Bill Have and Bill Have only. So that was the reason for blasting Facebook, and not giving up on it. My manager at the time, there was nobody successful from it yet, because I mean, Facebook really, I mean, I know it's been around since like 2004, 2005, but I didn't get on until 2010. So when I started selling in 2014, still in my area, there's not many guys. I would say I'm the most popular course salesman in the area, but I'm not the best by any means. I'm just the most popular. So therefore people think I'm the best, which is, the goal. So it's great using social media to sell cars. And I actually take a page out of your book, because I used to think, am I posting too much? Are people going to unfriend me? Are people going to unfollow me? And I see you posting as many times as you do, and it's always great content. But you're constantly up there with the engagement, with the likes, with the comments, with the shares. So literally, I haven't cared for the past 3-4 months because I say if Jason Girdner can do it, so can I, and it's been working out great.
Yeah, I think the point. I got to echo. You want to turn that down?
And I don't know how to do that here. I'm using my slow iMac, guys, so I'm sorry. I was planning on doing this on my iPhone, and then we just realized right before that I couldn't.
Yeah, I think the point of social media is that you're real. I mean, you have to be real. Like,
yep.
It's not meant for, corny TV commercials. Otherwise people would just watch TV, and even when they do, they don't want to watch the commercials now. So it's really meant for being real and just sharing your day. And I say it all the time, on the little box where you enter your post, it just says, "What's on your mind, Jason?" And that's really all I post throughout the day is just what's on my mind.
Right.
What am I thinking about? What are my challenges? What new things do I have? And I think a lot of people try to overthink social media to the point that they just don't do it. And I think that's a bigger problem than over posting, is people don't post enough because they're trying to overthink what they should post. I think it's just more important to post more frequently. So you actually work at Kelly Buick GMC now, right?
Yep. Yeah, I've been there since March.
I know you'd hit 30 cars a month ago, or what?
Yeah.
One of the months.
Yeah, my first month there, my first day there, actually, I made a goal and I set a challenge, and my goal was 40 for 40. So to give you a little bit of a backstory, I went there asking for a $15,000 sign-up bonus. And the reason is because that's what I had gotten at my previous dealership. So I had gotten a $15,000 sign-up bonus to join this independent dealership called AutoProof. And to even take it a step farther back than that, so I worked at Hyundai. The slogan was, if you're lost, you're here, and all that stuff. I sold around maybe 15, 20 cars a month there my first year in the business, using Facebook, taking whatever fresh ups there was. And then the store up the road recruited me about a mile away. So Phillipsburg East and Hyundai was where I worked. And then Phillipsburg East and Honda recruited me. So they sold 300 cars a month there compared to 60, and it felt cool to be recruited. So I ended up going there, and I sold 324 cars my first year at Phillipsburg East and Honda. So it was around 27 cars a month there. I can't give myself all the credit. It's definitely the way they run the store. It's definitely how they work their deals. Working at that store is really what made me who I am, because they TO every single deal. They'll double TO every single deal. They'll triple TO every single deal if that's what it takes. And that's why, in my opinion, that they sell 350 cars a month.
Right.
I love that kind of environment. 20 sales guys, so much traffic in and out of the door. And that was really where I started to stop taking fresh ups, because there was so much competition. So if there's 20 sales guys and damn near 15 of them are fighting for every up and chasing them, I really said to myself, well, now I really have to bring my own traffic in if I want to be the best of the best here. So that was where I really pounded Facebook and really focused on social media, doing dashboard diaries, doing a video with every single referral check, creating my own content with my iPhone, with the Rocky videos, and grabbing another sales guy and saying, hey, record this for me. I just got an idea, editing it on my iPhone on iMovie. And I wish I knew or heard the advice that you just said, to where, salesmen get in their own head and they're focusing too much on what they post, that they end up not doing it,
Right.
and I was definitely guilty of that. And when that kind of left my brain, and following guys like you who do post a lot and who are successful, Grant Cardone, I know he's done a study where he email blasts everybody all day, every day, and people get annoyed. He says, I look at my subscribers and it teeter-tots. It goes down, but it comes up. It goes down. I don't lose anybody. I still got the 100,000 people I'm sending it to,
Right.
So hearing that and seeing guys like you, man, it's really, I post 10 times a day now. Whatever is on my mind, like you said, I'm posting. A lot of that is my family. A lot of that is at work. A lot of that is just whatever I'm doing, just like you.
Yeah, definitely. We follow the same practice as Grant with his emails, but we use text message, and we usually text our entire database about twice per day. Dan's sending something out to them. He uses his little motivational meme so he can kind of keep it from getting too boring. But we definitely don't care if someone unsubscribes from our texting. It doesn't matter if you text them twice a day or once a day. You're just going to get people who are just miserable in life, and it doesn't matter. They're just going to not like anything that you send to them. And those aren't the people you need to fill your network with. And it's the same thing on Facebook. It doesn't matter if you post 15 times a day or one time a day. You're always going to have that one person who says, I don't like because Bill Have was in my feed, or whatever the case was.
Right.
So 30 cars, or was it close to 30 cars? Where'd you end up in that first month?
Yeah, so I ended up at 36 cars. I sold 44 cars my first 35 days there. So
Wow.
I kind of got off track, so I apologize. I ended up going from Honda to Autoproved, an independent dealership, after having a successful year there. And he gave me 15 grand to leave there because I told him, I'm happy here, man. I'm not interested. Thank you so much. But he said, well, what if I give you a huge sign-on bonus? And I said, well, what's huge? I said, what are you going to give me, 25 grand? And he said, no, but I'll give you 15. So after meeting up with him and meeting his guys and talking with him, I ended up taking it. And my goal was to not be there longer than a year because I thrive off of 20 sales guys, 350 cars a month. I thrive off of the big, huge buildings. I just like that stuff. I like the mobile force. So I wasn't planning on being there longer than a year. And the record when I got there was 61 cars for a month. And I left 12 months later. The month I left, we sold 118 cars. So that is not solely because of me. I'm not trying to take the credit for it. But their marketing before I got there was, when you get a 5-star review on Google or DealerRater, you can have it show up on Facebook. So it will post on Facebook too. It'll say, we just got a 5-star review. That was their marketing. I'm not kidding you. So when I got there,
I've seen lots of pages like that. I see them every day.
Right. And to me, that is, I just cringe every time I see something like that. So we brought in a videographer really my third month there. I remember begging when the videographer said how much he was a month. He said, I'm $8 grand a month. And Ali and his brother were like, absolutely not. Like, mind you, they're from Dubai. So they got a lot of money, but they keep it all, right?
Right.
So when he told them $8 grand, they were like, get the hell out of here, dude. You can go right now. Not that blunt, but basically. And I begged and pleaded, and I said, Nick, can you please agree to do one video for free? And then Ali and Abbas, can you please agree that if it goes viral, or if we get a lot of hits, or if we sell a lot of cars from it, that you'll consider $8 grand a month, because that's pennies to the dollar on what we'll do.
Right.
So they both agreed on that. So the first video that we did was a Kiki Challenge video. It could not have been at a better time for us to make this deal, because we practice what's called relevance marketing. So whatever is relevant at the time is how you want to market to your audience, right? If everybody's talking about FaceApp, or if everybody's doing FaceApp, and that's how you want to market. It's just going with the flow. So the challenge was out, and we had so I have a local competition. I mean, looking back on it, it was petty to kind of have them in the video in the beginning and challenge them. But dude, we got 40,000 views in the first video that we ever did. So it was great. And it was because it was a little bit of a local competition. So it was awesome, man. After that, I think we got 300 comments, 200 shares on it, 40,000 views. And I kid you not, bro, when we sat in the office after the video and Nick said, so how does $8 grand a month sound? They looked at each other and they said, okay, we're in, man. And literally turned that store upside down. And like I said, we doubled sales in 12 months. And I don't take all the credit for it, but I do take a lot of it, just from having an outsider's, opinion coming in and saying, hey, I think we should be doing this. And, they did give me a lot of what I asked for after that. So I'm very blessed and thankful.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it definitely takes a team to double volume. But I do know that much of the videos that, I'd never heard of the dealership prior to you going there.
Right.
And I'm sure a lot of people in the area had never heard of Auto Approved prior to you going there. Social media is definitely a great way to get your name out there, but it's not going to be by just having your DealerRater reviews post to your Facebook page. It's going to take personality. It's going to take investment, whether it be investment in paid ads, whether it be investment in videographers, investments in those personalities, getting those personalities that are well known in the area, and actually coming up with a real strategy more than just I'm gonna post junk. I'm gonna pay someone $300 a month to post junk on my Facebook page. That's just never going to work. You might as well just take your $300 and buy a nice bottle of wine, as opposed to, wasting it to post garbage on your Facebook page. So videographer, that's pretty cool. I haven't thought about that.
In my opinion, that is the most important thing that any dealership can do, just because of what I lived in 12 months and seeing their growth. They were in business for 5 years when I left there, and I was only there for a year. So they were in business for 4 years when I got there, and their record was 61 cars.
So the videographer, does he come up with who comes up with the idea of what the video is going to be about?
So I admit, if I could go back, I mean, I would have handled it a little bit differently, but I obviously wanted to be, the content creator. So a lot of the videos at first were my ideas. A lot of the success is the Kiki video. That didn't take much from me, but it was just whatever was relevant. I said we need to do the Kiki challenge as the first video. The second video that we did was Cheated. I don't know if you saw that one. It was a 12-minute long video, and we literally reenacted the show Cheaters as if I had a client who was working with me and she was cheating on me with another salesman, and we confronted her on the lot. That was my idea. And then as the videos went on and as the popularity grows, then everybody is saying, hey, we should do this idea. We should do this idea. So I kind of got annoyed a little bit. And like I said, if I can go back, I would be a little bit more respectful and, change my attitude a little bit more. But I wanted only the best of the best, and I do admit, though, so most of the ideas were mine, but the best video that we ever made, I was totally against, which was a music video. And right. In my opinion, I didn't want to attract, the thugs, the gangsters, the people who pay cash for everything, the people who sell drugs who can't prove their income. And I was dead wrong, but I thought by doing that, those were the people that we would attract. So I admit now I was dead wrong about it, but it got over 400,000 views on it. I think it got.
I listen to gangster rap, and I'm definitely not a thug and a gangster. So you never know who's listening to what kind of music.
Right. No, I like rap myself. I do, but I thought us making a rap, because we had a rapper write the song for us, and literally
we tend to see the world through our lens. I can see how you would see the world through your lens.
Right. Yeah.
So I get it.
I was definitely wrong. But I'll never forget when he sent me the song. Did you actually ever see the music video?
I probably did. I consumed some
this content. Thing gives me chills every time I see it, man, because I can't believe we did it. So I'm sleeping, and he emails me, he Dropboxes me the song. And literally, dude, I jumped out of bed when I heard this song because it was phenomenal. And it took 3 days for us to film the video, and not a lot of people wanted to do it. We had to really drag them out to do it. It was like on Sunday we had to do it. And when we dropped the video, dude, I mean, it got like 3.3 thousand likes. It got 400,000 views on it, and I remember seeing comment after comment. I can't wait until I need a car to buy it from you guys. And to us, it was, dude, we felt famous for a couple weeks, because literally everywhere we would go, they'd say, oh my gosh, I saw your music video, and it was so cool. Riding with Ollie in the Rolls Royce, man, it didn't get much better than that.
Yeah, that's definitely pretty cool. So with the videographer, would he be the director?
Yeah. So Nick Ascenjo, man, I got to give him a ton of credit. So we'd come up with the ideas, whoever it was. And once we had a plan, then he would literally direct it. We would show up that day not knowing what we were going to do. We had kind of an idea, but he would say, okay, Bill, I want you to do this. And then I'm going to do this, and then you're going to stop. He would direct it from the start.
Yeah, that's cool. So Billy the Greek says, I'm going to go ahead and throw his comment up here. He says, thugs and gangsters need cars too.
Yeah, no doubt. And I don't want to contradict myself, because I specialize in helping people who are looking to establish or reestablish their credit. So, please don't misunderstand me when I say that I like to help people who are in need. That's what this SWAT tattoo is all about. It's the 4 things the bank is looking for when they're considering giving anybody a loan. Stability. Where am I at here? Stability, willingness, ability, and track record. So please, I don't want to sound wrong that I don't want to sell cars to thugs or gangsters. I absolutely do. That's honestly half of my, my customer base. But when you're spending that much money, I felt like it was $1,000 a video for him. Now it is actually. It was $8,000 a month. But then we ended up making 10, 12 videos one month, and Nick was like, "Nah, I'm not doing this no more. It's $1,000 a video." So I felt like if we were going to be, I felt like I had this much time with the videographer, and if we made a video and it didn't work, or they spent $10,000 on him and we sold 60 cars, I felt like it was my fault, and then they were going to get rid of him. So I wanted to do things.
Yeah, you were trying to get car deals, and you didn't want to drive too much bad credit because you needed it. I needed
results for him to stay.
Right. Right. You didn't want to lose your videographer. I get it. I definitely get it. So you've learned the hard way about what to not say on the internet.
Yeah.
So before you were with Auto Approve, prior to that, you'd made a comment in a live video, which we won't repeat because I don't want to be under the same bus. But
yeah,
you definitely, if you're going to be out in the public, you definitely have to be very careful of what you say, because it can happen in a matter of minutes. You are definitely under the bus and getting attacked. How did you deal with that particular situation? Was it stressful? Did the dealership, how was the dealership responding to it? Did you learn your lesson from it?
Yeah. So I got to give you a little bit of context too on that, because so I know what happened and I know why that backlash happened. Was when I left the store, if you're broke, or I'm sorry, if you're lost, it ain't my what am I talking about? I'm thinking if you're broken in my fault. If you're lost, you're here. When I left that store and I went to Honda, they were terribly upset, right? The general manager there, he ended up texting me and saying, you're going to be just another number there. They're savages there. They don't care about training and all this stuff. So that stuck in my head for a long time. So when I became salesman of the month there and sold 31 and a half cars, not taking a single fresh up, and I was number one, I made a post on Facebook and I had his text, I cropped his name out, and I had the picture of the board, and I said, you're right, mother effer, I am another number one. So when I posted that, this gentleman had such a fire in his belly and he had it out for me, right? So when I ended up making a mistake and posting a car and giving him an opportunity to call me a bad guy, he had a fake Facebook profile on Facebook. So it was a woman, and he was in a women's rights group. So he posted a screenshot of my post, and can I just say it so anybody who's watching knows what I'm talking about? So I'm over it. I don't really care about it anymore. Yeah, so I took a picture of a car and I said for $99 a week you could drive this panty dropper. So he took a screenshot and he posted in a women's rights group, and this was right around Me Too. So how dumb could I be, to leave myself open like that? So hundreds of women, when I say hundreds, I am not exaggerating, hundreds of women that were part of the Me Too movement, which I love women. There's nothing more than I love than women. I love my mom. I love my sister. I love Claire. I have a daughter now, so in no way was I disrespecting women, which is a poor choice of words. And I definitely left myself out there for somebody to get me like he did. So he posted that in the women's rights group and said, who does this guy think he is? We got to stand up for our rights. So it was a joke, man. Literally women from all over the country who will never meet me, who will never do business with me, were saying I was a sexist, were saying I was, I hated women, just all this crazy stuff. Now, to be 100% truthful with you, I sold more cars because of it. I had my friends, I had my family, I had them sending me, messages, women sending me messages saying, Bill, I want to buy a car from you and I want to take my panties off in the dashboard diaries and throw it at the camera. Can I do that? And of course I said no, but I had so much support because people knew how bad I was getting bashed. So I did a live video apologizing because my general manager made me, because to be honest with you, I would not have done it if he didn't make me do it. And he said, I have to apologize. And I apologized. And he told me that I would be suspended for a week. So I kind of felt like, I'm like, man, you're supposed to have my back on this. And then right after the live, he said to me, don't worry, you're suspended for a week, but I'm going to New Orleans on Bourbon Street and you're coming with me. So he said, you just can't post on Facebook. You can't do any of that. And obviously this was 2 or 3 years ago now, so I don't care who sees this, but we had a blast in New Orleans for a week, man, and a lot of people hated on me. I had to just take it. I couldn't say anything back. They wouldn't let me, thank God, because I would have said something stupid back, but it was my first real experience of getting hated on, man, and I'm sure somebody like you, bro, somebody like you has to feel my pain times 10.
I've had people set up Twitter accounts and take our videos and pictures of my family, and there's some pretty hateful people out in this world. But the one thing I've noticed is the haters just push the people that like you closer to you. As you said, you sold more cars. I guess the lesson learned is to stay focused on the real goal. Sometimes we tend to want to get revenge on people, and even though you can get revenge and it's their fault and they deserve it, at the end of the day, it's all about making money. It's all about moving to that next level. It's all about selling more cars and staying focused on the end goal of selling cars. So sounds like you probably learned from that experience. for anyone watching this, you just have to be cautious what you put up on social media, especially with a public profile, because anyone can see it, and you know, it can turn around on you pretty quickly. So you mentioned the dashboard diaries. We have about 5 minutes before we're out of time. Tell me about the dashboard diaries. Are you still doing those?
Yeah, so dashboard diaries is my claim to fame. I did a video with literally the first customer I ever sold a car to because of where I was at. So like I said, I had to hit social media hard if I wanted to sell a lot of cars. So for me, my idea was I have to do a video and post it every time I sell a car. So I started from outside of the car, and it was really awkward. You know, you have somebody else recording you. People don't want to be in the video anyway. I took everything I had to talk them into it. I asked them how their experience was. They'd say it was good. I'd ask them if they'd refer their friends and family to me. They'd say yes. I'd say, thank you, come see me at Phillipsburg East and Hyundai. And it was the lamest videos you've ever seen now. But 4 years ago, they were the coolest videos you've ever seen, right? Because I believe in quantity over quality. So you don't just start doing something and become great right away. You know, so me looking back on the videos now, I cringe, but I see all the comments, I see all the likes, you know, on this day. And I'm like, man, people really like them. So it was a cold, rainy, windy day one day, and I couldn't do it from outside the car. So I said, let's just hop inside the car. I'll set my phone up on the dashboard, and I'll just ask you how your experience was. So I coached them up before. Thank God I did this. I told them what to say before I hit record. So it wasn't a lie at all. I just said, remember to say that you wanted to put no money down, and you wanted a low monthly payment, and you were very particular on the kind of car you wanted, and you were able to accomplish all that.
Right.
When I hit record, man, and everything came out and everything was clear and the quality of the picture, they weren't 10 feet away. There wasn't some weird guy recording them. They just opened up like no other, you know? So when I have over now 1,200 dashboard, I've sold over 1,200 cars. I didn't do it with about 200 of them. So there's about 1,000 dashboard diaries on my Facebook, you know, and just to see the evolution, man, from when I first did them until now, they're so much better, and that's because practice makes perfect, you know.
So what are you doing on YouTube?
On YouTube?
Yeah.
I haven't posted too many, honestly. I've actually been procrastinating for the past 2 weeks because I do have an assistant. So I'm going to pay her. I'm going to have her post all my videos on YouTube. So I actually paid this woman to screenshot all my videos and to make posters behind me. So I have, you know, 2 posters that sit behind me at work that have 750 smiling, happy customers in their cars. So it's almost a trap.
Yeah, I'm actually like you. I do a lot of my stuff on Facebook. I'm not a big YouTube person. But what I have been doing is taking my Facebook videos and downloading them and then uploading them to YouTube with a description of what we talked about.
Yep.
So this video, for example, this video will be on YouTube before the end of the day.
Right.
I'd highly recommend, because you have all kinds of great keywords inside of those videos. If you have 1,000 dashboard diary video, I would highly recommend downloading those and getting those on YouTube, because the SEO of YouTube is insane. I get leaks from videos.
I need to be on YouTube, so I need to get started on that ASAP.
Yeah, you could kill 2 birds with 1 stone, because I feel more comfortable on a live video and on Facebook versus YouTube. I don't feel like I'm actually talking to anyone on YouTube. It's different.
That's how it is for me on Instagram. You know, on Instagram, I just don't know how to work it, man. So I've been on Facebook for 9 years now. So
yeah, I'm the same way with Instagram too. I just don't. And I mean, I would use Instagram more if I saw it as an outlet to actually sell. But I don't in build relationships. But I don't see people building relationships there. I just see them, you know, kind of being topical and you know, they just kind of share their stuff instead of, you know, sharing who they are. I think on Facebook we get a deeper understanding of who people are, and they're sharing more about themselves.
Right.
Is there any questions you have for me? You've been following me a while.
Yeah, I do. I was actually, like 30 minutes before we did this, I was driving in the car and I said, I want to write down some questions for you, because you are one of my idols, man. I really do. From following you and knowing, you know, the troubles and the trials and errors that you went through, you and Scarlett. I guess my biggest question would be so since I started this credit repair company, some days, you know, I make $2,000 in a day, and the next day I couldn't give it away for free. So what would you say was the most critical point in the beginning for you to keep pushing through, you and Scarlett both together?
What helped us push through?
Yeah, because I mean, obviously you have your really good days, you make a lot of money, you think you're the man, you think your company's the best, and then there's some days where you couldn't give it away for free. So what's your mindset? You know, like, did you just know all along that you were going to be millionaires? Did you know that this company was the best, or did you second guess it? And consider getting out of it?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, we still second guess it to this day.
Right.
I mean, we would, if we were to value the company, it'd probably be in the range of 20 to 50 million, somewhere around there. So you could technically call us millionaires, but like you said, it's an up and down. I mean, just because you have more money coming in doesn't mean you get to keep more money. You have more money going out. So there's some days that that I definitely feel, and it hasn't gone away. Like in the beginning, it seemed very, like I look at my stressful days in the beginning and I'm like, oh, those are nothing. Like when we took our first loan to help build this company, it was a $20,000 loan. We had to make daily payments on this loan because it was like a 10-month loan, and they wanted us to pay daily out of our checking account. So I was like, okay, I'm going to take 10 grand. I'm going to get my office, and I'm going to keep the other 10 grand to cover the payments on this loan, the daily payments for 2 months, so that I can make it 2 months, and then try and sell enough to get to the point to where I could cover the cost of this $20,000 loan. Now we're at the point where we're in the process of trying to get a $2.5 million loan.
Yeah.
$20,000.
How long is that from the $20,000 loan now to the?
Yeah. How what?
How long is that? How long of a time?
We started the company in February of 2016. It wasn't TECOBI at that time, but that's when I took the first loan to actually start coming up with a concept of what we can, what am I going to build? What am I going to call it? Where are we going to go? It was February of 2016.
I apologize, dude, of my ignorance. I thought you were going to say like 10 years ago or something, man. But 2016?
Yeah, no, we're like 3 years. It was Labor Day of 2016. I came out with the concept of Facebook and text message.
Right.
So we're not even up to 3 years on that particular concept yet.
That's incredible, man.
But it just never. It doesn't. I don't know if you're a religious person. I'm a highly religious person. I don't go to church, and I'm not your organized religious person.
Right.
But I definitely pray and speak to God daily. And to be 100% honest, I couldn't do it without God, because that $20,000 stress, it didn't go away. It just got magnified to a $2 million stress.
Yeah.
And it's just a bigger stress. And at the end of the day, we're only here for a short period of time, man. It doesn't matter if this works or doesn't work. It doesn't matter what happens. Just enjoy the ride. And you're going to end up in a much better place as long as you have faith and believe in God. So that is 100%. I probably would have already had a heart attack if it wasn't for God. There's been days where I thought, oh man, I just can't make it. I can't make it. We're not going to make it till next week, and then all of a sudden something miraculous happens.
Right.
And I can feel it too. Like, if I allow the stress to come down on me and I allow it into my life, then things start to get even worse and worse and worse. The more I say to myself, it doesn't matter, I'm going to let go. God, you got my back. What really taught me the lesson is when we started the company, about 4 months later, we were leaving our rental home here in Colorado, and we were trying to buy a house based on my previous pay stubs from my previous job. Mm-hmm. So they didn't know I left and started my own company at the time.
Right.
We had all of our stuff in a U-Haul in front of our old rental, and we're supposed to close on our new house the next day. Like, we were going to close, like, all of our stuff was there. It was our last night in our old house. We were going to go to the bank and close that next day. And they call us at like 3 o'clock and they say, oh, well, we need another $15,000 down or we can't close the deal. Literally the day before we were going to sign on our new house. And I remember looking at our toy hauler and all of our stuff in there. And we even had to pull the toy hauler to a campground because we didn't have anywhere to go that next day. And we ended up coming up with the 15 grand at that time. But I remember sitting in that campground early in the morning before I found that 15 grand, saying to myself, you know what, it's not going to be bad to travel the country with my family. We'll live in this toy hauler and, we'll figure it out. And we'll go from campsite to campsite and,
right.
I'll build software as we go from campsite to campsite. And, it was in that comfort of, hey, no matter what happens, I'm going to be happy. Like, it doesn't matter. You're not going to take my happiness from me. Like, none of the stress, none of the stuff inside the world, none of the failure, none of that's going to take my happiness from me. It's my choice to wake up happy And I have my wife, I have my children, I have the things in my life that are going to make me happy, and you can't take them from me. Like, you're not going to be able to take that from me. You can take the money, you can take the cars, you can take all the other stuff, but you're not going to take my happiness. And it's in that you find the strength to push through. It's in that that's where you find the strength, man. It's not going to stop. Like, you're stressed right now. You might be stressing over, how are we going to pay for this? How are we going to get to this next level? Who's going to do this? Who's going to do that? Yeah. That's never going to go away. That's just going to get bigger.
I feel like I'm never satisfied.
And Grant Cardone says it. He says, go find bigger problems. And that's really what it comes down to, is the problems are never going to go away. To get further in life, you have to just get better at handling the problems. You have to get better at overcoming things and not letting it interfere with your drive, your dedication, your motivation, and your happiness.
That's so true, man. Yeah.
And that's how you get through it. So for those who don't know, I've been watching Bill and his wife, Claire. Your wife's name's Claire, right?
Yeah.
So watching him and his wife, Claire, and they've been doing some credit repair. They've had some good results. You could just add Bill if you're not his friend and you need something off your credit report. A lot of times creditors, they don't respond right away to inquiries that, where you're inquiring to make sure that it's supposed to be on your credit report. So it ends up getting removed because the creditor isn't responding, and they don't have the resources to respond. And they just have so many inquiries coming at them so frequently that they can't respond to them all.
Yeah. And if I could add to that real quick, everything on your credit report, whether it's positive or negative, it has to be 100% accurate. So up to 80% of credit reports have inaccuracies on them. So as an example, let's say you didn't pay $1,000 Best Buy card, and you tell me, Bill, I really didn't pay this. Like, this is my debt. This is correct. But let's say, so you have Experian, you have Equifax, and you have TransUnion. So let's say that $1,000 credit card reports on Experian as $1,000. Let's say it reports on Equifax as $1,000, and then on TransUnion it reports at $1,100. Well, guess what? That's not 100% accurate. It can't be 95% accurate. It can't be almost. I'm sorry about that.
You gotta wait for.
So that's how we get items removed, and you would not believe the amount of inaccuracies. So then the next question everybody asks is, well, Bill, what if there are no inaccuracies? What if everything is right and I pay you for nothing? Well, it's not true, because a lot of the times they cannot prove that it is accurate. So say that there are no inaccuracies on the report, you can still say to them, you're right. Hey, I need to see proof that, or documentation that this actually is correct. I have no idea what this is. And if that company went out of business, a huge one is Sallie Mae. If you have Sallie Mae student loans that are in collections, Sallie Mae went out of business. So you can do this yourself. You don't have to pay my company to do it. Anybody can do this themselves. And that's why I was so intrigued, because of the clientele that I work with. I work with people who are looking to establish or reestablish their credit and help them get a vehicle. So after I sold 1,200 cars to people who need help, and I'm sick of bringing in 70 people in the door every month and selling 30 of them, I'm like, what am I doing wrong here? How am I bringing in so many people? I'm not selling 50, 60 cars a month. And it's because a lot of them, their credit is horrendous. And what bothers me is that it's horrendous for things that are inaccurate. So if I can get those things off of your credit, if you sign up with my program, however much you spend with me, I then put down for you when you purchase a car from me. So if you spend $500 with me, you then, if you come to me with $500 to put down on a car, you now have $1,000 put down. So essentially it's free. My long-term goal is to sell, 100 cars a month by doing this. And if I see a lot of money coming from this, and I may get out of the car business. I don't know. My whole beef with the car business, I love it. It's got me everything. I live in a development where I used to look at like people who lived here were rich. So I love the car business. But what I don't love anymore is having to spend so much time with the dealership. That's my biggest problem. So I'm really trying to make it work from home. I really am.
Yeah, I definitely think that looking at Frank, I'm sure you know Frank, and
he's another one of my idols.
In the store. So sometimes you got to give it time when you move stores, and I know some of it you couldn't help and you had to do, but Frank's been at his store for a really long time, and it gets better with time, Bill. It does get better with time. So the longer you stay somewhere, the more secure your roots are. I'm never getting out of the car business. I'm married to this business as long as I can see And maybe somehow you can be in the car business, do your credit repair, and get referrals from dealers. Who knows?
Yeah.
What the future's going to hold. But we're out of time here, so I'm gonna thank you for coming on to the video with me and jumping on one of these lives with me. I appreciate it. I wish you the best of luck at Kelly Buick GMC, and also with your credit repair. Do you have anything you want to say to everyone before we go?
Yeah, just thank you so much for having me, man. I really enjoy doing these lives. I enjoy watching them. I watched all your lives earlier today, so thanks for having me on there. And I look forward to continuing to follow you, and can't wait till you and Scarlett buy that private jet, man.
All right, man. Rock and roll. Sell some cars. Peace.
Peace out, man.